don't know if you know it or not, but you are in a war. This war has been waged without your direct knowledge, consent, and possibly even without your awareness. This is an ancient war, the very oldest and most protracted in world history. Your enemy is the most evil, vile, deceptive, dangerous, unscrupulous, malefic being ever created. The battleground where this conflict is waged consists of many different theaters of war, both in the ethereal spiritual world and the corporeal physical world as well. The combatants in this conflict range from legions of demons to angels of God, and human beings divided into categories of goats, sheep, and wolves in sheep's clothing. Your ultimate enemy is the dragon, that old serpent, the devil, and Satan, and his allies, which are men who play the role of Satan on earth by supporting his cause.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
If you are a soldier of God, you must put on the entire armor of God. The time to make our stand is now. This is a spiritual war that is fought in both the physical and spiritual realms using conventional and unconventional warfare. But what exactly is unconventional warfare? John F. Kennedy said this:
"For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
Have we not seen unrest and riots in the streets, ambushes on innocent unarmed victims?
A young white man opened fire inside a church in Charleston, killing 9 people.
And assassinations through orchestrated mass shooting events that are nothing more than psychological operations executed with the purpose of influencing the emotions, motives, objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of the common people. Have these events not eroded our hope and exhausted our resolve? In short, the type of unconventional warfare being carried out by the enemy we are at war with targets civilian populations psychologically with the aim of winning the hearts and minds of the people. It depends on the dissemination of propaganda by its colossal media machine, and it uses systems of social control like the Hegelian dialectical principle and Pavlovian conditioning. This type of warfare also uses infiltration, coercion, and manipulation to reach its goals. These goals are accomplished by agent provocateurs. At the behest of the adversary, members of the aristocracy will choose an individual who is by natural birth a part of a group or nation of people that they have targeted, with the intention of using that individual as an agent provocateur to infiltrate that specific group. In all likelihood, this person will be a person who has sold his soul for wealth, celebrity, fame, and fortune, and as a result, has become a member of the bourgeois. It is important to note that the enemy controls both sides of a conflict in order to ensure the predetermined outcome is reached. This philosophy is symbolically represented by the Masonic black and white checkerboard. Black represents dark or black magic, and white represents light or white magic. This is the dichotomy of good versus evil, used in the context of manipulating others by controlling actors on both sides of a conflict. If the target group happens to be the disenfranchised, marginalized, downtrodden, oppressed, poverty-stricken proletariat, the provocateur chosen for that assignment will have at one time in his life, prior to selling his soul, lived in and experienced the same struggles of this group. Although the provocateur will no longer be considered part of the set of hierarchical social categories which label him a member of the lower class because of his newly gained economic status, he will adamantly verbalize his membership and proudly display his solidarity with the people of that group. This is done to disarm and gain the trust of the group so that the group will identify with, relate to, and trust the infiltrator. The targeted group will accept the provocateur as a part of their group, and he will be looked upon as an example that is to be admired, idolized, and followed. In the eyes of the lower class, he will represent success as one of their own who made it out of the deplorable socioeconomic predicament they find themselves subject to. Unbeknownst to the group, however, internally, the infiltrator will not harbor the same warm feelings towards them. In fact, he will secretly despise them and identify with the enemy to whom he has sold his soul instead. The provocateur will gather information, use deception, sabotage, and counterintelligence, disseminating false information, outright lies, truth, and half-truths in order to manipulate and influence the group by evoking and stirring up heated passions and emotions within the context of the oppression and brutalization the infiltrated group is presently suffering under.
Started doing it. I need everybody who's sad about Paris to be just as sad and angry about Tamir Rice. Now all of these young, innocent people dying over nothing.
The provocateur will be keenly aware that the aristocracy to which he is underemployed is actually responsible for the suffering of this group, and he will also understand that his role as protagonist, while on the exterior looks to be in direct contravention to the hardship, tyranny, and injustice imposed upon the people, is in fact covertly in lockstep, perfect symmetry and harmony with the aims of the brutal, oppressive ruling elite.
Yasiin Bey, the rapper formerly known as Mos Def, has been banned from the United States.
He, in fact, is a faithful representation of a different side of the same coin, one half of the ebb and flow of a rhythmical pattern of skillful manipulation, identical to the swinging of a pendulum that is equally displaced from either side of its resting position. In the end, the provocateur will commit treason against his group and nation of people and cause them to willingly accept and support the cause of the enemy. We are bearing witness to a bourgeois agent provocateur and infiltrator conducting unconventional warfare against the proletariat, who are the working class people of the world, in the recent media headlines broadcasting the events occurring in the life of famous actor and rapper Yasiin Bey, formerly known as Mos Def. These news reports are psychological operations aimed at influencing the people by attempting to evoke feelings of understanding, shared experience, and emotions, causing the people to identify with Yasiin Bey's current struggle. Through this, the people are made to feel a connection to Bey. They are sympathetic towards him, and he becomes respected and held in high regard in the eyes of the people for appearing to take a stand against tyranny. This is how leaders of movements are created, through the manipulation of emotions and the pathology of groupthink or mob mentality. In May of 2014, a BET article reported that Yasiin Bey was barred from entering into the U.S.
Yasiin Bey, the rapper formerly known as Mos Def, has been banned from the United States. This is according to representatives from the Boston music festival Together Boston. As a result, Bey has canceled his U.S. tour. Now, according to allhiphop.com, the music festival sent out this message via their official website. We regret to inform you that due to immigration and legal issues, Yasiin Bey is unable to enter back into the United States, and his upcoming U.S. tour has been canceled. Now, you'll recall that Bey has called Cape Town his home since May last year.
It was unclear what kind of discrepancies were holding up his re-entry into the United States. But in recent years, he has been increasingly critical of U.S. policies. Last July, Bey teamed up with the human rights group Reprieve to reenact a forced feeding such as the ones endured by hunger strikers jailed in Guantanamo Bay.
Peace. My name is Yasiin Bey, and I'm here today to demonstrate the standard operating procedure for force feeding detainees at Guantanamo Bay. Good morning.
Notice the orange jumpsuit he wears in the video, which represents the orange of Satan riding the white horse and the coming prison planet. This was an orchestrated event, propaganda presented by the Guardian Media Group, a news media outlet for the purposes of bolstering Yasiin Bey's profile as an activist and rebel against the oppressive government system that brutalizes and disenfranchises the proletariat, so that the oppressed peoples of the world would come to identify with Bey as a representative and celebrity bourgeois mouthpiece who has a platform that he is using to speak for the people who have no voice. But who really and truly speaks for the people who have no voice? Because in truth, he is still just a paid actor used to influence and manipulate the masses. It should be noted that the Scott Trust Limited is the British company that owns Guardian Media Group. Scott Trust is owned by Apex partners Sir Ronald Cohen. He is a member of the Illuminati who is connected to the Rothschilds. January 2016, Yasiin Bey is arrested and detained in South Africa for allegedly using a fictitious passport. Turns out the document Bey is using is called the World Government of World Citizens World Passport. This is obviously a document which promotes the one world government of Antichrist. Yasiin Bey was interviewed concerning this passport issue and his arrest. During this interview, he makes mention of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and he goes on an emotional rant about how the politicians who control all the different nations need to be held accountable under international law for all the crimes they are committing against the world's citizens.
And let the UN acknowledge the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a law. Because furthermore, what Holland is talking about doing, closing the borders, how are you going to put innocent people under suspicion for crimes that they did not commit? Closing these borders does not bring back any of them dead people.
Bey believes that national borders should be dissolved. He makes reference to Charlie Chapman's speech from 1942.
Everybody needs to read this Universal Declaration of Human Rights, post it up, put it on your Twitter, everybody. And Charlie Chaplin's speech from the great dictator.
Save the people! Now let us fight to fulfill that promise! Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers!
To do away with national barriers!
Charlie Chapman mentioned the creation of a new world order, which consists of nations with no borders.
What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order.
All nations must come together to build a stronger global regime.
This connects to Yasiin Bey's orchestrated arrest and detainment in South Africa because of the rejection of his world passport. Yasiin Bey is being used to further the goal of the New World Order, the Antichrist, and Satan. He is being portrayed as a revolutionary, a socially conscious defender of the rights of the downtrodden and disenfranchised proletariat who is fed up with the corruption, brutalization, and oppression of the oligarchy that runs the nation state. He proposes to replace this form of government with a one world government, and he is attempting to manipulate your mind through an emotional plea to follow his lead as an agent provocateur. Chaplin goes on to say,
Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men.
He repeats what Charlie Chapman said when he declares that the men in power want to turn us into machines.
These forces, right, that are looking to just turn the world into a brutal place and to turn people into machines. They're trying to turn us into machines or just high-functioning mammals.
Yasiin Bey is an agent provocateur who has infiltrated the people for the specific purpose of capturing the hearts and minds of the proletariat with rhetoric that provokes argument and stirs up strong emotion in order to manipulate the people into calling for the implementation of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Borderless nations with the world passport and by extension the birth of the New World Order and the rule of Antichrist. He is most definitely a wolf in sheep's clothing. The truth of the matter is this: there will be no utopian world society based on peace and respect of your fellow man, which comes from an appeal to man's common humanity. The Most High is the only one who will set up an everlasting one world kingdom on earth where peace and love prevails, and everyone will come to Jerusalem to worship him as king. See Daniel 2:44 and 45, Zechariah 14:9 and 16, and Revelation 21. Although it should be noted that the Antichrist will attempt to set up his own kingdom in Jerusalem so that he may be worshipped as the Messiah. See Daniel chapter 11, verse 45. The millennial reign of Christ will begin at his return. See Zechariah 14:4, Revelation 20:4 4 through 6. After the dragon is imprisoned for 1,000 years, see Revelation 22, the Antichrist and false prophet who exalted themselves in the place of God in an attempt to set up the beast kingdom on earth shall be thrown in the lake of fire. See Revelation 19:20, Daniel 2:40, and Daniel 7:23 through 25. Then the 10-region confederation of the world's army of followers and worshippers of the beast and his new world order, one world global government, shall be totally destroyed. See Revelation 19:19 and 21. This is the truth as it was presented to me by the Holy Spirit of the Most High God concerning Yasiin Bey's involvement in promoting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the world government of world citizens, world passport. May the Most High grant you all the ability to understand and comprehend the information presented to you this day, so that you may be able to recognize all provocateurs and infiltrators who are agents of the enemy, posing as wolves in sheep's clothing. Amen. Shalom.
To protect the sheep, you got to catch the wolf. You understand?